So we're dealing with culture care. We're dealing with a third way. And this morning, what we're zeroing in on is Jesus teaching in stories, in parables, and specifically this morning, the story of the four soils. So we're on a beach. We're on a beach, Jesus is there, and there's so many people on the beach that he gets in a boat and he goes offshore 15, 20 feet, I don't know, somewhere around there, and he teaches the people from a boat. One of the things that caught my attention is, why does he tell the people, the masses, all the people that gathered, just the story? And it's not until he's with the disciples that they say, what does the story mean? And he tells them what the story means, which means that he never told the people what the story means. So, what hit me like a ton of bricks was this. We, especially in our day, love to chunk things up so that they're understandable and we can figure it out and we've got it and let's go. Let's go watch the game. We got this, we got it at church, we figured out these three things, we know what it says, let's go. Done. Those people that were on the beach listening to this story, what did they hear? Who did they hear it from? They heard a story about a packed down earth that they walk on every single day of their life. That's roads to them. They walk on packed down earth. How many times did they, walking down those paths, go, remember what he said? Why did he talk about a path and the seeds that come and birds come? Oh, there's rocks in the soil. There's weeds growing up in the soil. They experienced this every day, every moment that they were outdoors, which was a lot. Everything brought them back to what? To him, sitting in a boat, teaching them. I will bet you dollars to donuts that the story in Acts, in the beginning of Acts, where 5,000 people heard a message from Peter and came forward to lay their lives at Christ's feet, I'll bet you dollars to donuts there was people from that beach. There was people from that beach that were also listening to Peter. The couple of the shepherds could have been there. What happens in your life, in my life? It's not a one-shot deal. It's not like, oh, went to church, understand that, done. No. So I want to close with a story, and that is a grandson story, my oldest grandson, who was, where the story begins is in July when we were out there on vacation. Ezekiel Warren Griffiths is his name at that time. He was 13 years old. And we were staying with them. And so you've got two pastors and in the same house, and you're constantly talking church, you're constantly talking theology. It is the subject in the household. Poor Zeke, poor Elsie, growing up with a grandfather and a father who were pastors. He gets it all the time. Okay, so he made sure that I heard a statement as he walked past me in the hallway. And I don't recall, I know there was other bodies around his parents, and Janet was somewhere close, but I don't know if they heard, because it was for me, but it was walking past me. So I do not want to discuss this with you, but I want you to hear this. And his statement was, I don't even know what truth is anymore. I don't even know what truth is anymore. 13 years old, almost ready to turn 14, and my radar went up, and I went, yeah, I'm ready for this. This is awesome. He had the guts, took the risk to share that in front of his grandfather, who's a pastor. That's awesome. That's wonderful. So I didn't deal with that until this last trip. Went out for my 50th high school reunion. And we were at the beach every day. This was the second day. We were at the beach, and Malia and Jason were out in the water, knee-high, looking for shells. It was just an absolutely knockdown, gorgeous day. And I'm with Zeke and Elsie up on the beach, just in lounge chairs. I go, okay, Zeke, it's time to have our talk, our Esther Lightcap meet talk, okay, about truth. You made this statement last time I was here in July. Now you're 14 years old. Now you're ready for it. And it is, I don't even know what truth is anymore. I said the first thing, truth is personal. Truth is personal. Truth is a person. Jesus said, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life, a living person. I am sitting in this boat teaching you about rocks and soil and weeds, and I want you to remember me sitting in this boat, talking to you. Truth is personal. That's number one. That's a massive, in other words, it's not just facts up in our head that, how do I figure God out? How do I figure salvation out? How do I figure Jesus becoming the Word or the Word becoming flesh and blah, blah, blah? How do I figure all those things out? What is truth anyway? No. It's personal. What is Jesus' first thing that he says to his disciples? Come follow me, a living person. Follow me. Okay. So let's jump that idea, let's take that idea to today. Michael Polanyi, a crazy, brilliant Hungarian scientist in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, 1900, was reading all this philosophy about how he comes to discover things, and he goes, no, that's not it at all. It's not me figuring out what it is and creating tests in my head and taking the facts that I know in my head and putting them against these tests and seeing if they're true or false. That's not how it works. How does it work? And this is why it's, and I'm telling this to Zeke. He's 14 now, okay? Polanyi says how you discover what a scientist does and what they need to do is to pour themselves into the problem, into the aspect of reality that is drawing them as a human being. Because there's scientists around the world. There's thousands of scientists, and they're all drawn by some reality out there that draws them, that woos them towards something outside of them, that they know something is big, they think something is big, but they don't know what it is yet. And it is that process that draws scientists to make discoveries. That is exactly what Jesus said. That's not what he said, that's what he did. Come unto me, follow me, pour yourself into me, because I love you, and I will take your burdens, and I will see you through. So, the example I used, and I close with this, the example I used with Zeke was, Zeke's learned how to sail. We went down and saw him putting the boats away and coming in. And It was an awesome boat, probably, 18-footer with a jib and everything. There's 2 people in it, and he's fully handling the boat. And then afterwards, they come into the classroom and learn the words of what they learned out in the water, how to sail. And that day, they were dealing with tacking, going back and forth. And I said, Zeke, if you were never to sail again for the next 30 years, you could get into a boat and sail like that, just like riding a bike. Your body knows how to sail. You don't have the words to explain what's happening, but you know how to sail. And he will never, ever lose that. That is how we pour ourselves into the Christian life, into the Christian faith. It's not a list. It's just not words in a book. It is reality itself. He says, I am the way, I am the truth, and he means it. He meant it. So as we pour ourselves into discovering who in the world this God is that created this unbelievable creation, we are involved in culture care. We are caring for our culture, for the people around us, in its completeness, in every aspect of our lives, whether it's sailing, gardening, or whatever it might be. So, just like the people on that beach, they are to remember, oh, I hear who this is. And I want to continue following him and learning and being dazzled by what in the world is going on around him. That's our life forever.
So this is really cool. I was talking to Mark off to the side, and I said, with Chrissy's message about Jacob in Genesis, with Mark's message about Zeke and sailing, it's been really cool to see things come together. And Mark was saying something in his message. He said, it wasn't a one-shot deal when those people, 5,000 of them, came to know Christ. They probably had actually been in his presence before, most of them, many of them. And I thought that's so cool because what it is that there is a seed being sown every time you're on holy ground. The ground is being cultivated every time. Decay and death is bringing new life every time. Every time we're on holy ground. And then you sing this song, Bless This House. I'm like, Mark, what the heck? This is so perfect. Because you read in, did I just drop something? Oh no, it's on this page. You read in Genesis 28 what Chrissy shared. And so he had this dream. And he realized that he was on holy ground. And he even says, how awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God, and it was not a church. What? What in the world would he have meant by that? He literally just laid down with a stone, had a dream, woke up, this is the house of God. Leaves a stone there. I know the song Come Thou Fount uses the term Ebenezer. Here I raise thy Ebenezer, which is really a pillar of memory of what God had done. And he calls the place Bethel. So there's that place. And it's the house of God. So what does that mean? What is the house of God? What is holy ground? When you're gardening, when your grandkids are playing and laughing and creating and drawing and coloring and telling you stories, when my kids are doing the same, that's holy ground. When Chrissy's brother was on that bus and he saw that family that was different than him, that looked different, that maybe believed differently, holy ground. When you go to work tomorrow, when you have lunch at a restaurant, holy ground. Seeds are being sown. The ground is being cultivated. Decay and death are bringing new life every time. whether we realize it or not. And I think that's, to me, what's so powerful about this dream that Jacob had, because it makes me realize that this whole thing is holy. Everything, every step we take, every eye contact we make. And it sounds like I'm about to go in the song that I think Sting possibly did, I'll be watching you, and that is not where I'm going, but it's all holy ground, and how amazing is that? In the first service, I did a song called Resurrecting, and I like it because the language is so much different. I never heard anyone say the resurrecting king is resurrecting me. Jesus is resurrected, right? He's resurrected. That happened in the past. But this is saying that Jesus is doing something active. He is resurrecting us daily. What does that mean for us? That we are obviously dead and we needed resurrected. That we wake up in the morning and we die to ourselves and we need resurrected. The resurrecting king is resurrecting me daily. And Mark said something, this is what I'm going to finish with. Mark said something about Zeke sailing, and I thought it was so cool. He said Zeke sailed. He learned how to sail. He did it. He felt the wind. He felt the sail and all the other words that I don't know about sailing. And then he went into a room with a teacher who put language to what he already knew. Isn't that what this is? Isn't that what Scripture is? It's just putting language to what we already know at a deeper elemental level. Deep down, we know that we are on holy ground. We just needed to become aware of it. Do you know that you are on holy ground? Boy, it's so easy in this building. You look how beautiful it is. You look at the garden. You look at all the people here. But do you know you're on holy ground when you're in your car and someone pulls in front of you? It's all holy ground. How awesome is this place? Bless this house. And Jacob said, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it. How awesome is this place? That is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven."